Hi my salty pecans, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Pamela, and yes, let's just address the elefante in the room, and that is new hair hoodies, new hair hoodies. So I actually just did a brand new style on myself. I obviously love my locks. The locks is pretty much my signature look. I have coined it, this is my signature look, but I did want a little break from that particular style. I wanted to just see myself, you know, in a different light. You guys have seen me in the locks, you guys have seen me in braids, you've seen me basically shave all of my hair off and dye blonde and come back with like blonde locks and back to my black locks. So right now I am taking a little break, and I had a couple of just like events to go to, and I'm like, you know what, I really want to just like sleek straight hair, but this is just a little compromise I did with myself. So I have this like curly texture situation happening, and then I gave myself these little, you know, little sections. It's cute, I love it, and I'm really happy with it. So let me know what you all think about in the comment section below. But in today's video, we are going to be talking about my plant of the month for the month of, as soon as I started filming, that's when all this extra unnecessary noise wants to happen. Plant of the month for the month of August 2022. I'm being consistent. I am literally going to post a plant every single month for this year. So for August, my birthday month, it is none other than my dream plant. It is one of my most favorite house plants. I remember going on the hunt for this plant, finding it, purchasing it, not honestly questioning my purchase because it was pretty pricey. So if you all want to know the plant, let me just show you all quickly, and then we're gonna get into the intro. So the plant that I have chosen for my birthday month of August 2022 is this beauty right here. And you're probably like, Pam, a compactor, calm down. No, learn your plants, your Hoyas correctly. So the Hoya Swiffers Tail is my plant of the month for August 2022. So if you're interested in all of the care details, little bit of info I'm gonna share about this plant, then keep on watching. All right, everybody, welcome back. So let's just get right into this beauty right here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I picked this plant up in 2020. So I went through, or 2021. One of the other years. I either purchased this plant a year ago, or I purchased this plant 2 years ago. And when I originally did purchase it, it only had 2 leaves. So it was like just like one singular node with like 2 leaves just like pushing out on the other, you know, opposite of each other. And I was like so in love with it. I was so obsessed with it. When I did originally purchase this plant, it had like some sort of just like mold, bacteria, mealybugs combination. So I had to automatically treat this plant when I received it. I was a little nervous about having to like just get the plant, putting harsh chemicals on it, and worrying about it acclimating in my home. But this plant gave me 0 issues, so I was so excited. I did pick this plant up, like I mentioned, the 2 little leaves for $150. For me, that was this is the most expensive plant that I've ever purchased. Like, I have never put more than $150 into a plant. And again, at that time, it was crazy because you're like, Pam, it's a little nub with 2 leaves, 1 node. Why are you spending so much money on that? In Creole, there's the term that's like uge folie, right? It's like people who buy high fashion but they can't afford like high fashion, so they're putting themselves in debt. Or you're like, why you like acting? Why you acting still? She's kind of, I can't find the English translation, but it was kind of like, Pamela, uge folie plant collection, uge folie game plant key. You know, it's like you have this, why are you posing? Like, what is the poser? It's so hard translating words from one language to English and vice versa. But I hope you get what I'm trying to say. I was just telling myself, like, who do you think you are, Pam? Like, putting so much money into plants, especially since I've always been a big advocate of not spending too much money on plants. So when I purchased this, I was like second guessing myself, but I really didn't want to because I don't spend a lot of money on plants. I might amass a lot of plants, which will cost a lot of money, but in one sitting, like for one plant, I don't like to spend a lot of money. So of course, this is to add to my compacta obsession collection. This is not a compacta, this is a hybrid, and I believe this is the Motoski and another plant. This is a hybrid plant between two separate Hoyas that Rick crossbred and gave this baby. This plant, honestly, I find is really just easy to take care of. I let it dry out in between waterings, so this plant is dry enough that I will pull the whole entire pot and it goes with all the substrate and the roots. I water it fully. I do make sure that when I do see active new growth, I try to keep it a little bit more on the frequently watered versus like bare dry roots, bare dry soil. I try to keep it like a little bit moderately more frequently watered. So let's say on a normal watering schedule, I water this, let's say, once a week. But when it is flowering or when it is pushing out new growth, I might water like twice a week. And also keep in mind that we are now just coming out of the summer season. So during the summer months, I actually had to water this plant a lot more often. Why? Because it lives directly at my northeast facing window, so it gets literally that bright direct sunlight that plants get when they're literally facing the window. The only thing that is stopping it from getting direct sunlight is the 4 walls that surrounds it. So well, technically it's like 3 walls that surround it because it's facing the opposite wall. I watered this plant in the summer months maybe like 2 to 3 times a week because this is a small pot. As you can see, this is probably like a 1.5 inch pot, right? It doesn't even tell me. And this is like maybe like a 1.5, maximum 2 inch pot. This is so tiny. This is little. I'm gonna give it maybe like another year or 2 before I upgrade the planter pot into something just a smidge wider. So I might go from this little 2 to like a 3 inch pot. Nothing crazy, because Hoyas like to be root bound according to Hoya experts. I'm not a Hoya expert, so I'm air quoting the experts. So I mentioned watering, lighting. Like I said, it lives in my northeast facing window. I do not manipulate any of its light. I don't give it extra supplemental lighting. In the winter, in the summer, it does what it does, and it does what the window does. In the summer, the window is open, so it gets that natural hot breeze, that cool breeze, whatever breeze that summer day is providing it, it will get it. During the winters, I close the window so this plant does not get any cold breeze, but it lives literally like directly above a radiator. So what I do for the hot winter is I have a bowl with water that acts as a humidifier to add some extra heat and steam into that area where I have all of these plants where this resides. So that is basically like the lighting and sort of like temperature care that this plant gets. Fertilization wise, I fertilize this plant sparingly, once in a blue moon, when I remember, oh, use your Hoya spray, you know, like your orchid spray to spray your Hoyas. Or if I'm watering all of the plants and I decide to add some fertilizer in that water, then I will use that fertilized water and also water this plant. So I interchange fertilization. I don't have a strict fertilization routine. Maybe I should, and maybe my Hoyas will probably flower if I do, but I don't have one, so I'm just gonna take what I give it and it's gonna accept it. Okay, and I think that's pretty much all. Substrate wise, I kept it in the substrate that it's in. All I did was add a little bit more orchid bark into here, but other than that, I have not messed with the substrate. This is in a very well draining substrate. So if I pull this up to show you, there's going to be loose soil, but as you can see, here are the roots. This is how the roots look. Barely anything, not enough to get repotted, but you can see this is very like perlite-y, barky, and maybe soil-y-ish. But on the top I do have all of the extra orchid bark, just for some of the superficial roots that we might not pay too much attention to. So the reason I picked this plant is not only because of how beautiful this plant has grown. Like I mentioned, it started off as 2-leaf. I think this was one of the original leaves, this one right here, and this one right here. Just the 2 original leaves are still here. It's grown quite a lot, and it's also like vined off and given me like 2 different growth points. So there's one new growth point here, and then there's this main growth point right here that is pushing out new little leaves. If you can see here, that little new little leaf is trying to like grow and be thick and lush and mature for the plant. So it's always growing, it's constantly growing. It does not give me any issues, none so ever, when it comes to growth. Again, this was always a wish list plant, so to have it in my collection is a big deal, and to still be able to have it in your collection is a big deal, because if you're like me, then even if you've had a plant for quite a while, sometimes plants do cross the rainbow bridge and do, you know, their own thing and live out a different life, not in your home. But this plant is one that I'm always like on top of. Did you water it? Are you doing what you should do? Is it happy? I'm always trying to stay on top of the care requirements for this plant, because it is a wish list. It is very pricey. I don't want anything to happen. So I love you so much. Thank you so much for being my birthday plant of the month, Mr. Hoya Swiffers Tail. So I think that's all I just want to ramble about, salty peeps. Let me know what is your plant of the month for the month of August 2022. Share with me in the comment section below. And tell me what plant you think I should make my plant for September. My cats have to fight always have to fight for some reason. With that being said, thank you so much, my salty pecans, for watching this video. If you liked it, please let me know by giving it a big old thumbs up and sharing. Subscribe if you aren't already. Join this little cookie family, because we're pretty awesome here. Become a salty pecan, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. Make sure you are also following me on my other social media platforms at HauzPlant, HauzPlant. That's on Facebook, that's here on YouTube, and that's also on TikTok. And I will see you on the next one. Let's get growing.